Best show ever.
That's a snappy little tune.
How you doing, everybody? It is Tuesday, the 13th day of February, 2018. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and we're off to a roaring start.
Boy.
So.
That's putting it mildly.
How you doing, Steve?
Doing great. Hey, pitchers and catchers reporting.
They're coming up, yeah.
It's really
baseball. I'm ready for it. Bring it on.
There.
We had one coworker who no longer works here who is about as big a baseball nut as I am, and he doesn't work here anymore, so I don't have anybody around the station to talk baseball with anymore.
You can talk to me.
That's true, but you're
I'm old school.
You're old school.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's one of your few charming qualities is your old schoolness. I just love baseball and I'm ready for it. I just love it. Warm sunshine, outdoors, America's pastime. I'm ready for baseball.
I'm ready for baseball weather is what I'm ready for.
Speaking of weather, you remember winter? It's back. Ooh. We're not going to get a lot of snow, but it's going to be kind of chilly. Forecast details are coming up. Winter weather advisory, by the way, in the mountain passes. We'll get to that as well. Busy show for you today. You got lots of news. We got sports previewing a couple of big high school playoff basketball games tonight that we will be covering both live right here on the NCW Live channel. Eastmont Lady Wildcats will be hosting West Valley at the Eastmont Gymnasium. That tips off at 5:45. As soon as that game is over, Eric and Grant's going to take all of the gear and hopefully get a police escort across the river to Wenatchee. And we'll do the Wenatchee boys in their playoff game against the Eastmont boys.
Oh,
so Wenatchee
goodness.
and Eastmont renew the rivalry with much bigger stakes. And that's at 8 o'clock, and we'll have both of those games here on the NCW Live channel.
Always hard-fought contest, I know.
It'll be great. It's a great
Bragging
rivalry.
rights.
It's so different from when I was in high school. When I was in high school, we played Eastmont in basketball, beat them, by the way. But Eastmont was in a different classification. Wenatchee was 3A and Eastmont was 2A. Wenatchee was in the Big Nine, Eastmont was in the Mid-Valley League. We never played each other.
And you use the peach baskets instead
Yeah,
of
we
the
used the
nets,
peach
right?
baskets, right, exactly.
Right, yeah.
And the leather helmets in football.
Talking old school now. Cagers, they called them back then.
The obscure holiday of the day today is a no-brainer. It's Fat Tuesday, so head on down to Nolens and enjoy a little Mardi Gras. 1.4 million people will congregate in the French Quarter tonight to rally and party and all that good stuff.
Do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as bad. They paint it as like it's just sin and debauchery, and it's not true. There's a lot of family events in Mardi Gras. If you want to get a little goofy, you're certainly allowed to do so, but it's a very good self-policing crowd. Nobody really gets out of control.
Well, no, but it is a pre-Lenten festival.
Yeah.
So, I mean, get your yayas out before
That's the
you
Ash
know,
Wednesday, yeah,
that's
and then
pretty
you have
much
to
it.
you have to give up things for Lent. We'll talk about that. Today in history, birthdays. Everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. I think it's about kids these days with the rock and roll and the long hair, and I don't know. And Rick
Paul
Isaacson.
Lynde comes to mind.
Yeah, and Rick Isaacson is standing by in our green room, which isn't really green. Rick Isaacson with the local chapter of the American Red Cross, because the Hometown Heroes nomination process is almost over. You have until Thursday to get your nomination form in for the Hometown Heroes Awards, which is coming up. Big event.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have a number of people out there that are very, very deserving of that award. But again, we have a lot of people in this valley who, you know, sacrifice themselves to help others. So that pretty much is the qualifying criteria.
One last little item to get to before we get to the weather forecast, and we have some spectacular footage, by the way. For the first time in 73 years, Steve, Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday fall on the same day.
Oh.
So
Okay.
for you practicing Catholics out there, a quick word from the church, because they have made their decision. You will do Ash Wednesday. Sorry about Valentine's Day, but no chocolate, no wine, no steak. You're supposed to fast and that kind of stuff. And the Roman Catholic Church has said, we don't care if Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday is on the same day. You're going to do Ash Wednesday, all right? That's enough of that.
Well,
So
they're just going to delay the holiday then.
yeah. So no, it's if you are practicing Catholic, you are expected
Like
to
I say,
participate
delay the holiday.
in Ash Wednesday. That's all there is.
Delay
to it.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely. Because Ash Wednesday, I believe, is always 47 days before Easter, regardless. So they go where Easter falls in the calendar, and they go back 47 days, and that would be.
Well, you're a Catholic, aren't you?
Well, kinda. Kind of like you're a journalist.
A rice bowl Catholic?
You ready to go to the valley? Let's do it. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras. Good morning, Wenatchee. Good looking sunrise. Kind of a purple mountain's majesty, Steve, above that fruited plain, I would say.
Yeah.
Good looking view. We've moved the camera a little bit more of East Wenatchee in view there from the cross camera. All of these cameras that you're going to see this morning, courtesy of Local Tel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless network. And as long as the cross camera is up and running, and it is, we always start with that camera. And then
Well,
we go
it seems
around.
like last week we were seeing the lights
Yeah.
downtown, but now it's lighter.
About 90 seconds of daylight is what we're getting a day. We're getting longer and longer and longer. But we're still in winter, and we'll remind you of that when we get the forecast. Camera 2, let's find out together. That's Two Rivers. That's got to be Lake Wenatchee.
Lake Wenatchee.
Beautiful up there. I wonder if it's still iced over. I wonder if, usually it's completely iced over. Lake Wenatchee is.
Closer to shore you get, the icier it gets.
Yeah, there you go.
There.
Boy, nothing gets by you. Good morning, Lake Wenatchee. It's good to have you. One of my favorite spots. The hike up to Hidden Lake is just gorgeous. Hiking up to Dirty Face is a hike, but once you get up there, it's an incredible view, of course. Camps in Ecologii, the Y Camp. It's a beautiful area up there.
Good morning to Tim McElravy up there, by the way.
Absolutely. Camera 3, Arundel Rock.
On the Columbia River.
Yes, Arundel Rock. Is that actually the rock? Arundel Rock. I don't know
Is
exactly
that it on the
what
right
that is.
there?
Well, it's what they call the camera, but I don't really know.
No, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. It's just that they have to call the camera something, so we call that one Arundel Rock. So good morning, Arundel Rock. And
As you
everybody.
look up north there, I think that's Sunland Estates jutting out there on the top, right?
Yep, beautiful area too. And finally, camera 4 will take us to
Lake
Union
Chelan.
Valley.
Is that the Manson?
That's Union Valley.
Oh, Union Valley. I'm
Yep,
sorry.
and look at all the snow it's got. We did this camera just about a week ago, and it was all snow. Now it isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of snow melt up in the lake. And they've had more snow up in Lake Chelan than we've had down here in the valley floor. They've had a few more inches, or maybe even more than that, over the course of this winter. And just to let you know what you're looking at, right in the middle of your screen, that peak is the Upper Butte, where we have cameras there as well, at the Upper Butte, where those crazy kids jump off with their hang gliders and do their crazy thing.
Yep.
So, good morning,
That's fun.
Chelan. It's good to have you on board. From the National Weather Service, here is your weather forecast. It's going to be cold and dry today. We're going to have the clouds thicken up. It's going to be sunny for most of the morning, Steve. By 1 o'clock or so, the clouds will start thickening up. By sunset, it'll be mostly cloudy skies, so basically increasing clouds as we go through the day today. And there is a slight chance of a little bit of snow. We got lucky because there's your snow for tonight into Wednesday. As you can see, for Wenatchee, it has 0. But Moses Lake's going to get maybe a couple of inches, and the farther east you go, the more snow. Spokane hasn't had significant snowfall in a couple of months, and they're about ready to get a pretty good dumping on tonight into Wednesday. But it's going to miss us. As you can see, Plain's going to get a couple of inches up north, a couple of inches here and there. Here on the valley floor, not much. Snow levels about 1,600
Winthrop,
feet.
2 to 3 inches. Huh?
Yeah, so just a quick little blast. It's going to give quite a bit of snow, as you can see there, to the Idaho Panhandle and the Cascades, by the way. Nothing here for the Wenatchee Valley. It's going to kind of just pass us. In fact, Wednesday, we're looking at partly sunny skies tomorrow.
I say the east side of the state's getting more of a La Nina winter than we
are. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I like being in the shadow of the Cascades. It's a good place to be. So that is your snow totals tonight, spilling into Wednesday again for the valley. Really not much, but you really need to keep your eye out. The farther east or west you go here in Wenatchee proper, no real issues. And as I mentioned before, mostly sunny really for the balance of the week, the exception being today and into Wednesday. And then we go right back to sunshine Thursday. Cooling trend, however, for the upcoming weekend, Steve. As you can see, from Saturday, we go from 53 to just 43 on Sunday. Maybe a snowflake or two. There's only about a 20% chance of precipitation at all. When you see the snowflake or the raindrop, we're just being cautious. We're being conservative. The odds are it's not going to happen, but we put it up there because it's about 20%, 20 to 30% is about when we say, do we put the graphic up or not? So there you go. That is your forecast for the Wenatchee Valley. And now your past report, where everything right now
Looks
is just
rosy.
fine. Let's take you to the live shots. We'll go to Snoqualmie Pass first. No advisories, no restrictions, bare and dry. No problems at all. On Stevens Pass, roadways bare and dry. A couple of patches of frost and ice in places on Stevens. Outside of that, no advisories, no restrictions. And you notice now the Stevens Pass camera is in color.
Very nice.
You see that?
Oh, yeah, I can
Yes,
see
it
that
hasn't
now.
been for a while. Blewett Pass, no advisories, no restrictions. Roadway is bare and dry. Some frost and ice in places. Nothing going to happen today. Less than a half inch of snow if they get it at all today. But then a winter weather advisory kicks in beginning at 7 o'clock tonight for the Cascades. All three of the major mountain passes that we just talked about, Snoqualmie, Stevens, and Blewett, will all get significant snow tonight, spilling into Wednesday, Steve. 3 to 7 inches, depending on where you call home tonight, and an additional 3 inches on Wednesday before that system passes through. So there is a winter weather advisory in effect from 7 o'clock tonight to 10 o'clock Wednesday, 1,600 feet and above is going to get snow. And the higher up you go, the more snow you're going to get. So Stevens is going to get more, say, than Snoqualmie. There's about 1,000-foot difference in elevation between the Stevens and Snoqualmie Pass. So that is your weather forecast. That is your news. It is 10 minutes after the hour. Live here from Studio 4 in downtown Wenatchee. When we come back in 1 minute, Steve Hare has the news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
RLS Productions is proud to bring to the NCW Life channel the Concerts in the Garden Summer Series held at Omi Gardens. The series features performances from Rare Earth's Peter Rivera, Heart by Heart, Too Slim and the Tail Draggers, The Infinity Project, the Wenatchee Swingin' Big Band, and a whole host of other great acts. Tune in Wednesdays at 1:30 and 7 p.m. and Fridays and Saturdays at 10:30 a.m. and 9 p.m. RLS Productions Concerts in the Garden Summer Series, only on the NCW Life channel.
Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, serving all of North Central Washington. We make it our priority to learn all about your financial needs. Whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or want a reverse mortgage, our mortgage professionals are ready to guide you through the loan process. We have a wide variety of loan products to fit your family's needs. Call Bay Equity Home Loans of Wenatchee today for your pre-approval. 509-888-0466.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
And on this February 13th, Tuesday, I'm Steve Hare with a look at what's happening here in North Central Washington. Well, first of all, authorities say the January 14th fire at the Wenatchee Dalco packaging plant was intentionally set. Investigators say evidence, including video from a surveillance camera, points to arson as the cause.
During the initial investigation of that fire, the night of the incident and in the days and hours following the incident, surveillance video was discovered that seems to support the theory that that fire was intentionally set, and it is being investigated as an arson.
And also, Brian Brett, the Assistant Chief of Chelan County Fire District 1, said the fire caused upwards of $5,000 worth of damage when it torched several pallets containing styrofoam packaging material. Wenatchee Police Detective Brian Chance urges anyone with information to contact Rivercom. That phone number is 663-9911. Now again, they said they did have a surveillance video, but Detective Chance said it was not clear enough to really provide a good description of the suspect, although it was clear from the video that whoever that person was had set fire to the pallets. So that is what's leading that arson investigation right now. January home sales in the Wenatchee market down 7% compared to this time last year. In fact, when comparing sales during the last 90 days to the same period last year, there has been a 5% decrease in the number of homes sold. That's according to Pacific Appraisal and Associates in their monthly real estate snapshot of the Wenatchee market. The good news is that new home listings last month showed an increase of 31% when compared to January 2017. The median sales price for January 2018, which is basically the price point in the middle of all property sales, is up 3% over last year to over $276,200. The average home price, which is calculated by taking the sum of the values of all home sales and dividing it by the number of homes sold, is up actually 16% over last year to $321,299. Tax season is near, which already has accountants throughout the area busily preparing returns for the April 17th deadline. Pete Lucchini, a certified public accountant and accredited in business valuation at Cordell Neer & Company here in Wenatchee, she says the easiest way for business owners to get in trouble with the IRS is not pay.
The easiest way is just don't pay your taxes. The kind of the deeper bad way to get in trouble is to not remit 941 taxes. So if you're an employer, a small employer, a large employer, and things get lean and you don't have enough money in your checking account to pay all your bills as they come due, the easiest thing that you can do is to just not submit your payroll taxes, which is that Medicare and Social Security and withholding that you have withheld from your employees' checks. And so we like to say, kind of in the industry, it's the easiest loan to get because you don't have to apply for it. You simply just don't send it in. But it's kind of the hardest loan to pay back because they will figure it out, they will find it, they will assess egregious penalties that can put you at risk for closing your business down.
Lucchini advises businesses who find themselves in that situation to work through an accountant with the IRS to quickly get themselves back in good standing and not ignore it. Also, you can learn more tax tips from Lucchini and other CPA professionals with Cordell Neer and Company regularly on Let's Learn, weekly on the NCW Life channel. By the way, you can check our program guide on our website at ncwlife.com for more information. Well, the name, the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation, will remain just that. The results of a referendum election on whether to change the reservation's name were announced late last week, and just over 84% of those responding said they want to keep the name as it is. Over 7,000 ballots sent out, but just over 1,900 valid ballots were tabulated, with over 1,630 no votes against a name change and over 296 votes in favor of changing it. The Colville name came from Andrew Colville, governor of the Hudson Bay Company. In 1872, an executive order identified the tribal confederation with the word Colville. Today, more than 9,500 descendants of 12 Aboriginal tribes of Indians are enrolled in the Confederated Tribes of the Colville. Also, make ncwlife.com your go-to site for election night returns. We'll have all of tonight's results for Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Okanagan counties online soon after the 8 p.m. official poll closing. That's also the deadline for returning your ballots to the auditor's office. If you plan to mail in those ballots, make sure it has today's postmark. Meanwhile, voters will be deciding the fate of maintenance and operations levies in the Cashmere, Waterville, Palisades, Okanagan, Rondo, Omak, Pateros, Tenasket, and Oroville districts. Cashmere is also running a construction bond measure. In addition, the Douglas County Hospital District 2 requests money for Waterville ambulance services, and the Grant County Hospital District Number 2 also seeking a one-year levy for services at the Quincy Valley Medical Center. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for both men and women in the U.S., and nearly a quarter of all deaths in the U.S. are caused by heart disease. Well, this month is designated as American Heart Month to bring attention and awareness to the prevalence and severity of heart disease in the United States. The doctor of cardiology at Confluence Health, Kathleen Love, says what's concerning is that a large number of those who suffer heart attacks are under the age of 50.
The classic person who has a heart attack is more over the age of 55 to 65. But there's about 10% of the heart attacks that are experiencing with those under the age of 50 to 55. And about 20% of those patients don't have any of the classic risk factors that we talk about with heart disease. Those being diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and smoking, things like this. And so we know that these 10% of individuals are out there, and there's still much more research that needs to be done to help target why it is that these patients have heart attacks.
Dr. Love appeared on a recent Life with Lisa program, and Lisa Bradshaw hosts that program on NCW Life. Also, she adds that making heart-healthy choices, knowing your family health history and the risk factors for heart disease, having regular checkups, and working with your physician to manage your health are all integral parts of saving lives from heart attacks. Run Wenatchee, Confluence Health and Wenatchee Valley Medical Group are putting on the Heartbreaker 5K run during Heart Month to raise awareness about heart disease and about ways to commit to a more healthy lifestyle. The 5K run walk is on February 24th on the Apple Capital Loop Trail. Start time at 9 a.m. at Pybus Public Market there on North Worthen Street in Wenatchee. But it sounds like a great event and a good cause to raise money for. So that's it.
If anybody sees Steve Hare running, that means somebody's chasing him.
Yeah, and I'm not running very fast either.
Oh, baby.
My running days are over, I'm afraid, yeah.
A quick programming note, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we have high school basketball tonight. We have the Eastmont Lady Cats hosting West Valley at the Eastmont Gymnasium, 5:45 tip-off there live here on the NCW Live channel. Then we'll team up with the friends at Coho Radio to bring you the Wenatchee Eastmont boys playoff game at the Wenatchee High School Gymnasium. That begins at 8. So we're going to be moving around the schedule a little bit. It will not affect the 5 o'clock news, however, with Grant Olson.
That's right.
He will actually have the news for you at 5 o'clock. Obviously, he won't have the news for you at 6 o'clock. And we won't have time. Normally, when we do these doubleheader games, we normally have enough time to fit the newscast in between the two games. That won't be the case today. So there will not be a 6 o'clock news, but we will have one for you at 5, and we'll have one for you at 10.
And we will also have it on demand.
Yes.
on our website at ncwlife.com, and you can find all of your news there. As a matter of fact, if you missed any of the stories we shared with you now, just log on and get up to date at the website. Also, if you're looking to maybe share a news story with us, there's any number of ways you can do that: by email at our address at news@ncwlife.com, by Facebook, private message. You can contact us that way, or better yet, on our website. Just press the little contact tab there, and you can get a story suggestion to us. But always, our hotline is available for breaking news at 888-NCWL.
One more reminder about our newscast. As Steve mentioned, you can watch the entire newscast on demand once we get it up and running on our website, usually just before the 5 o'clock hours when we were able to get it up there. Also, if you're just interested in individual stories, you don't want to watch the entire newscast, but you're interested in just a story or two that may have caught your attention, all the individual stories are posted as standalones as well. And one more reminder, we get a couple of extra days to get our taxes in.
That's right, April 17th.
17th this year, yeah, which works out just fine. That means on Monday the 16th, I'll be doing my taxes.
Yeah.
Probably. Actually, I'm done. My taxes are done.
We'll have another little tax tip for you coming up a little bit later in the week. A lot of people getting their paychecks this week, so you may see some changes with maybe a little less federal withholding.
Yeah, in fact, it does. It starts this month, doesn't
That's
it?
right.
That's right.
That's right.
Boy, I'm so glad you're the news guy, because you know what's going on. Which is kind of part and parcel to your job, isn't it, Steve?
Actually, that's not true, folks. I come in just totally devoid of any knowledge at all. This guy's a font. He's a font of information.
No, I gotta depend on Steve to find out what the heck's going on around the north central Washington area. Quick little heads up for you folks up there in Waterville, Washington, USA. A big-time celebrity will be visiting your fine little hamlet here in just a couple of hours. That's right. Megan McPherson will be up. Steve and Megan are going to go up and do some stories up in Waterville. We don't get a chance to go up there and see the boys.
Well, I'll check in with the Douglas County Commissioners who are in session starting at 8:30 this morning. Maybe even stop in at City Hall and
say hi to Royal.
Say hi to Mayor Devaney.
So, yeah. So for you folks up in Waterville, keep an eye for Steve. Can you leave the county? Is that a parole violation?
No, actually, I'm fine. I think I've got the bracelets.
Oh, you got the, okay, yeah, the bracelet's no longer on the ankle. 23 minutes after the hour, going to take a quick break. We got sports, the obscure holiday, which is not obscure. It's Fat Tuesday. We have Today in History birthdays. Everyone is entitled to Mike Benatti's opinion. And if Rick Isaacson hasn't fled the building yet, Rick Isaacson from the local chapter of the American Red Cross will talk about the Hometown Heroes nomination process.
Gold Medal Award.
Yeah, I'm putting you in for one of those. It's all coming up on this Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. 23 degrees. Clear skies outside of our studios. We'll be back in 1 minute.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook,
where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
My name's Robert Duff. Current and previous occupation is architect, engineer, and a lawyer. Grew up here in Washington, born in Moses Lake. When I first came to CVCH, was looking for a place to get some dental work done. I was really impressed with the people at the counter. I mean, they were just on top of it. It only took her like 15 minutes to do their job. I didn't feel anything. The technology is so great, you don't even realize you're at the dentist. These people are so professional. I would have any one of these people in my home for dinner. These people are family.
And welcome back, 24 minutes after the hour on this Tuesday, the 13th day of February. Let's do sports. Another busy week of basketball starts tonight right here on the NCW Live channel and all across north central Washington. For the big schools, the 4A schools, it's a must-win situation. They want to work their way into the district tournament later on this week, and it all begins tonight. Now for Eastmont, that means a home game. They take on West Valley. The two teams faced each other twice during the regular season. The home team holding serve. Eastmont lost down in West Valley back on December. They lost 58-49, but then they turned the tables just a few weeks ago when they beat West Valley 59-46. Grant Olson was there, had the call that night on the NCW Live channel.
Here's DeFord to the side of the key, puts up a tough shot, no good, and the rebound into the hands of Victoria Lovelace, who's in there. Shot put back up on the steal by O'Rourke, and it's good. With Curtis on her, back to Simpson, still on the dribble. Baseline, going to take it all the way, left hand, layup, good. What a shot by Simpson. As Simpson brings it in, now Emily DeFord, beautiful turnaround jumper. That's what we're used to, and it's good. And left in the fourth quarter, now Simpson. Back out top of the key, Cox, she's going to take the three-pointer, long distance, good.
Emily DeFore had 13 points that night. Bryn O'Rourke poured in 12, but O'Rourke may not be available for the Wildcats tonight. She fell and split her chin open. Ouch. In Eastmont's regular season finale at Sunnyside on Friday. We'll have to tune in and find out if she's going to be able to take the court. So we'll have the Eastmont West Valley game live here on the NCW Live channel. Eric and Grant will be there 5:45 tonight. Also this evening, the Wenatchee girls are on the road. They'll take on Davis and Yakima, the gateway to Wapato. It is a loser-out play-in game at 7 o'clock. Boys basketball tonight, the fourth meeting of the year between Wenatchee and Eastmont. This one has the most on the line, obviously. It's at Wenatchee High School. The play-in game begins at 8 o'clock to allow the Eastmont fans a chance to watch the girls and cross the river and watch the boys. In the three previous meetings this season, the Panthers held the big edge of the first two. They won 67-42 and 55-35 back in December. But the last time these two teams met, it went right down to the wire.
The three balls have kept it in it here tonight. Here's Leeson. He'll try another three. Yes.
Blauman got trapped behind a pick, left Leeson open. He's been there all game.
That's a dagger. That gives Eastmont the 1-point lead with under a minute to go now. Blauman works to his left, now penetrates to the hoop. And he's fouled on the dribble drive.
Parmenter and Carlson inside position.
And he misses the first one. Free throws up, off the mark.
Darius Carlson!
Tracks down the rebound, and timeout called by Wenatchee. Eastmont will check it in. Baseline left. In it comes to Leeson. He's fouled immediately. In it comes to Esparza. He's fouled immediately. They check it in immediately to Cavillo. He's fouled with 7.3.
Tense.
Big free throws coming up.
It misses.
Off the mark. Panthers have the rebound. Carlson into the front court. Tries to pass ahead to Nipfer. It's knocked out of bounds by Eastmont with 2 seconds on the game clock.
Yet again, hold your breath for 2 seconds. It's a long time. You have time to set up.
Panthers, I don't think, have any timeouts. In it comes to Blauman. Blauman, the long shot at the buzzer will not go. Eastmont wins it by a final score of 48-47.
Now the team is playing particularly good basketball right now. Wenatchee has lost 3 of their last 4. Eastmont is on a 4-game losing streak going into tonight. But as they say, these two teams getting together, you can throw the records right out the window. Ian Dunn, Mark Miller with the call. We'll have it tonight here at 8 on the NCW Live channel. There's other play-in games, by the way. West Valley will be traveling to Moses Lake in Big 9 action. In addition, the Central Washington 1B tournament gets underway tonight with a couple of first-round games. Antioch is on the road at Pateros. Moses Lake Christian is at Riverside Christian. Both of those games start at 6 o'clock. So again, here's a look at our broadcast schedule for the week. Write this down. There will be a test at the end of the program. Eastmont and West Valley girls tonight at 5:45. Wenatchee and Eastmont boys at 8. Thursday, hockey night with the Wenatchee Wild taking on Langley in a game from back on February 3rd. Then we'll bring you the Cashmere Valley Bank Royalty Selection Pageant again, both Friday and Saturday night at 7. We're also going to get a little more hockey your way on Saturday afternoon at 2 with the Wild and Powell River from the end of January. And that is sports at 29 minutes after the hour. Increasing clouds is your forecast today. Lots of sunshine this morning, clouds this afternoon, maybe a light snowflake, not a big chance tonight, but the mountain passes are going to get quite a bit of snow. Heads up on that. All right, the obscure holiday of the day today. It's the day before Ash Wednesday, which makes today Fat Tuesday. We'll celebrate a little Mardi Gras. Fat Tuesday is always 47 days before Easter. Just a friendly reminder there. The celebration of Mardi Gras actually goes back to the Middle Ages, especially in France, in Paris. They always had a big party. They threw lavish masked balls the day before Lent. And when the French made it over to New Orleans in Louisiana in the 1700s, they brought that practice with them, but it was banned when the Louisiana territory in New Orleans in particular fell under Spanish control. But once New Orleans became a part of America, the people in New Orleans began to petition the right to continue the custom of Mardi Gras. And the governor in 1827 said, "Cool with me, I like a good party." And from that point forward, it's become a regular deal in the Big Easy in New Orleans, which is a great city. It's full of music and color and great food. It's just really cool. Of course, the historic French Quarter is a great place to go. 1.4 million people expected in New Orleans tonight for Fat Tuesday. It's portrayed in the media as just sin and debauchery and general foolishness. It's not really that way. They do a lot of family-friendly events, believe it or not, on this Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras, the day before Ash Wednesday. And let's do today in history, shall we, on this February 13th. They had a problem. The Seine River was right down the middle of Brussels. And in the 19th century, specifically in the 1840s and 1850s, they had a problem. I mean, it was full of pollution. People just threw their garbage in it, various decaying organic matter. It became a terrible health hazard. It flooded all the time, which means the people in Brussels had just junk in their houses. And finally, they figured, we got to do something about this river. And so they decided the best thing to do was simply cover it up. So they did. That river doesn't exist anymore. It exists. It's underwater. And when you go to Brussels, they have a whole series of boulevards and sidewalks and things, and you would have no idea there's a river underneath the city. They decided the best thing to do, instead of cleaning up the Seine, is simply bury it. And that's what they did, and work began in Brussels on this date in 1867. 1971 was the year, 47 years ago. My favorite vice president of all time, Spiro T. Agnew. He was playing with Bob Hope, Willie Mays, and Doug Sanders. It was the first hole of the first round of the Bob Hope Desert Classic in Palm Springs, and the Vice President of the United States shanked his opening tee shot into the gallery. It struck a husband and a wife. He kissed the woman on the arm, apologized. This was all on national TV. He returned to the tee box, shanked his second tee shot, and struck a woman in the ankle who was sent to the hospital. It happened on this date 47 years ago today. And finally, boy, if you were in the Northwest, you remember the huge windstorm of 1979. That is the Hood Canal Bridge, and half of it sank. It was an intense windstorm, one of the most intense windstorms ever to strike the Puget Sound area, with winds over 100 miles an hour, and a half-mile-long section of the Hood Canal Bridge sank. You remember that? Took them 3 years and $140 million to fix the bridge, but they eventually did. The famous windstorm sinking the Hood Canal Bridge on this date in 1979. 33 minutes after the hour. You got some birthdays. 2 historic birthdays. The longest-lived First Lady ever, Bess Truman. Of course, the wife of Harry S. Truman, the 35th First Lady of the United States, lived 97 years and 8 months. A classy lady all the way around. Her mother, Bess Truman's mother, did not much care for her son-in-law, who happened to be the President of the United States. But Harry Truman was a good son-in-law, and he didn't say anything. He behaved very well around Bess Truman's mom. Bess Truman was not particularly happy living in Washington, D.C. She said the happiest day of her life was the day that they moved back to Independence, Missouri, and settled down to retirement. And she had the impossible task of following Eleanor Roosevelt. And she had to say, you know, I'm not Eleanor Roosevelt, I'm Bess Truman, you got to take me as is. Great lady, Bess Truman, born in the state in 1885. Bob Jackson, the 57th United States Attorney General, 82nd Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court, born in the state in 1892. He's the last Supreme Court justice appointed to the court without a law degree. He went to law school, never graduated, interestingly enough, and one of the great writers in the history of the Supreme Court. You know, students cannot be forced to salute the flag or say the Pledge of Allegiance in public schools at the beginning of the day, and it's because of the writings of Robert H. Jackson. He said simply, you can't force patriotism down people's throats. My favorite quote, one's right to life, liberty, and property, to free speech, free press, freedom of worship, freedom of assembly, and all the other fundamental rights may not be submitted to a vote. They depend on the outcome of no elections. Bob Jackson, born in the state in 1892. And Mike Krzyzewski is 71 years old today. He's the head basketball coach and has been at Duke University since 1980. 5 national championships at Duke. That's second all time to John Wooden. 12 Final Fours, 3 Olympic gold medals, and he has won more games than any other men's college basketball coach in history. Mike Krzyzewski, 71 years old. 35 minutes after the hour, everyone is entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. Can't remember what it's about. I guess we'll find out together. And then Rick Isaacson from the local chapter of the American Red Cross will be dropping by. The Hometown Heroes celebration is coming up, but they need nominees so they can hand out the plaques to those deserving folks. Rick will be joining us too when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I gotta tell you, I'm nervous. Selling your home, it's a big step.
Can we find the right buyer in this market?
Look at our website. When someone looks at your home, I can tell how ready they are to buy. See that number? The closer it is to 100, the closer they are to buying. So, I know who to zero in on.
So you have a secret weapon.
You mean we have a secret weapon.
I like that. Oh, what do you think of the wallpaper?
I love that touch.
Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to come down and check out what we're all about at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Great beer, good food, and an endless source of entertainment for the whole family. Our Honey Blonde beer is flying off the shelves at your local grocery store. But I tell you what, it's even better on tap. And while you're here, try our signature Badger sauce with one of our delicious meals. Whether you're in the mood for a wrap, salad, pizza, or nachos, Badger Mountain Brewing has what you're looking for.
Every golfer aims to play their best, and smart golfers turn to the Golfer's Edge to get the Golfer's Edge. PGA professional Ed Payne has you covered from tee to green. You can work on your swing or play 18 in air-conditioned comfort on the golf simulator. Tanya's Corner has all the apparel the golfer needs at sale prices. And Ed can even rebuild your favorite set of clubs or custom make you a brand new set. Ask how you can qualify for a free 30-minute lesson at the Golfer's Edge on Mission between Kittitas and Yakima.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
The Cottage Inn has been a Wenatchee Valley landmark since 1940, making it one of the longest-running locally owned restaurants around. And it's better than ever. Steak, seafood, and their famous homemade desserts for dinner, wonderful lunch items, and breakfast on Sundays, all made from scratch and at an affordable price. It's no wonder the Cottage Inn has been so popular for over 75 years. Enjoy a fabulous meal today at the Cottage Inn on Easy Street in Old Station.
Hi, I'm Eric Granstrom, your host for Let's Learn here on the NCW Life channel. On this program, we take a little extra time to dive into various subjects to learn more about them, whether it's taxes, investing, death or dying, or anything else for that matter. We'll learn more about it right here. It's Let's Learn on the NCW Life channel. Come on, let's learn together.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. You know, I just read a friend's Facebook post asking if Cliff Notes were still a thing, because he mentioned them to a younger person who didn't know what the person was talking about. Now, this made me think about how much other stuff I have mentioned to millennials that, to their loss, they've never heard of. For example, Sophia Loren. Oh, God. Aesop's Fables, the Leaning Tower of Pizza, believe it or not, Michelangelo's statue, the Moses, David, and others. Farrah Fawcett, Film Noir, and of course, the two best car chase movies ever made, Bullet and The French Connection. Now, it reminds me of when my kids were younger and when I wanted to share a classic movie with them and they'd moan, "Oh no, Dad, this is black and white, we don't want to watch this." It's painful thinking about all the stuff that our younger generation has missed out on. It's painful. Kids these days. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and that's my opinion.
This is the NCW NCW Life Community Calendar brought to you by Localtel. The Kiwanis Kids Carnival is coming to Pybus Market February 17th from 1 to 4. Carnival booths are open to students ranging from kinder prep through 5th grade. This free event also includes activities and prizes. Also on February 17th is Auction for the Animals at the Wenatchee Convention Center from 5 to 9. Get your tickets at WenatcheeHumane.org. For more information, visit ncwlife.com.
Here at Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, we are motivated to sell you your next vehicle. Whether it's new or used, we have a great selection of all-wheel drives, pickups, sedans, minivans, and muscle cars. With huge rebates and incentives on new and competitive pricing on used, there is no need to go out of town to buy. So here's to a great 2017 here at Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram.
Get a nice surprise today at Town Chrysler Family Store.
We know crunch.
Quality, comfort, style, service. This is the Crown Furniture difference for more than 50 years. Their commitment to you is to provide the best furniture and mattresses the industry has to offer at a great price. Shop Crown Furniture today to experience the difference. And remember, free setup, delivery, and haul away in their service area is just another way they show they care.
Just about 42 minutes after the hour on this Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. Thursday is a big day for you procrastinators out there because you can't put this off anymore. We want to see some hometown heroes celebrated in the North Central Washington area, but you got to get your nominees in by the close of business on Thursday to talk about that and everything Red Cross related. It's our friend Rick Isaacson, who usually does double duty because we get to talk to you and your job as the PIO of the Chelan County Fire District number 1. But now you're here for this. How are you?
Thank you.
What do you think of those cameras? Look at that view behind you. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible?
It's always amazing.
It is amazing. Before we get into the Hometown Hero celebration, this is your first time on the show. Could tell a little folks about you, Rick.
I'm retired law enforcement. I spent 25 years over in Everett, and after retiring, I had 25 years in it, done most everything in law enforcement in our department, and I decided, you know, I haven't shot anybody, I haven't had to shoot anybody, nobody shot at me. Politics were changing, so I retired. And I came over here because I played some softball over here a few times, liked the area, came in, started doing some volunteer work, didn't have to work because of good pension, and joined several different organizations, and kind of whittled it down now to about 4.
That's still a lot.
It is. It keeps me very busy. Summertime, fire department is wildfires and so forth. Red Cross, I spend a lot of time on with them in the wintertime because it's slower.
Why the Red Cross? Why did you have an attraction to be a part of the Red Cross family?
It started in 2005. Katrina hit down in Louisiana. My then wife and I looked at that. We both decided that would be a good thing to do for us. So we came down and joined the Red Cross here in Wenatchee, and they sent us to a orientation. The next day, I boarded a plane and flew to Baton Rouge and did a stint down there. She boarded the plane 3 days later. She was going to go to Georgia. She got there and found out they didn't need her, so they shipped her over where I was, and we both worked safety and security with Red Cross. I was there for 24 days. We went through, that was after Katrina, but Rita hit the day that my wife came down and started with me there. So that started it, came back, got involved in the local office, became a board member about 4 years ago, and do a lot of different things for them because I'm available, and I come down and order furniture, change the light bulbs, a little bit of everything for
Sure.
them. Anything that comes up. Go out on installs for smoke alarms, help the AmeriCorps gal do some pillowcase programs, anything like that that I can help them out with.
Yeah, and that's one of the great myths and misconceptions of the American Red Cross. They think of two things: disaster relief and blood drives. But you do a lot more.
A lot of outreach, a lot of working with the community, schools. Very important that we get out to the schools. We used to do Red Cross first aid, CPR. Then we contracted out, and one of our members is a instructor, and she does all of the first aid CPR now, and we contract out to her.
Your background in law enforcement probably lent a specific skill set to volunteering for the Red Cross. You mentioned when you were down after Katrina, you were doing security and
yeah, that's why they sent both of us. My then wife was a reserve with the department, and I was a patrol officer and detective. And so when we joined, they, looked. We didn't know what we wanted to do, but they thought you're best for security. So they sent us down there as security for the monies that were being passed out, debit cards at that time, checking shelters and so forth for making sure their exit signs were up and nobody was having any problems, anybody assaulted or anything like that. We made reports on.
What was it like down there for the period you were down there after that devastating hurricane?
It was amazing. We'd go out every day. We had cars that were rented to us, and we'd go out every day as a team and make contact in the community, talk to folks, see what their needs were. To go down into the Slidell area, which is across Lake Pontchartrain from New Orleans, that was devastated. They have a marina there. Boats were sitting a quarter mile from the marina up on land or in houses, literally in houses. Lots of devastation. And I went down there year before last to look at the area, and it's been rebuilt. Most of it has, some of it hasn't, just vacant lots. But it was a great experience. I spent half the time there, then we went up north. And we worked as a small team and did shelter checks and so forth, and got to talk to a lot of people and so forth. That was a good experience.
Make any friends down there?
Oh yeah, yeah. And in fact, I still there's one. He was in law enforcement. He's down in California, and I email him back and forth occasionally.
Do you still get the call from the Red Cross during various national disasters and say, Rick is our guy for this kind of thing? You still,
I don't have too many because security is now mostly handled by the local chapters that are in that area, and we haven't had anything quite as big to do that with. And then typically hurricane season's June the 1st to about
mid-November,
1st of November, somewhere in there. And that's fire season for me. Yeah. And having joined the fire department and become kind of crucial for some of their things that they want me to do, I don't like to leave. Yeah. So I've turned down a few assignments. The only one I won't turn down, but haven't been called for, as I said, anytime you get a disaster in Hawaii, I'm going. So
they don't have too many in Hawaii.
They have occasional.
Yeah.
They've had some hurricanes go through there, but usually it's handled either with the local or from the California people go across.
And luckily, knock on wood, last summer in your role as the PIO of the Chelan County Fire District #1, we didn't hear a lot from you. It was a pretty quiet year.
I went to Jolly Mountain for 10 days. It was funny because the fires that were around here, I didn't get a call. I was making calls and so forth, but they were in a lot of transitions. They were bumping from type 3s to type 2s to type 1 teams as the fires grew. And finally, I made a good connection with the lead PIO in Jolly Mountain, and she says, yes, by all means, come on over. So I did, and I enjoyed my stay over there.
Well, let's talk about the Hometown Heroes celebration. The banquet itself is for a while yet.
March the 29th.
March the 29th. So it's a ways down the road, but we have a more important and pressing deadline, and that is Thursday. Talk about it.
February 15th. That's the deadline for turning in your nominations for Hometown Heroes. and we want to make sure we get the word out there and get folks to be thinking about it. And in fact, I was just talking to Steve a few minutes ago, and he goes, "Oh, there's one. I think I'm going to turn one in for that." So you might do that, and we really want, if there's anybody out there that it doesn't make any difference if they're friends or family or they're professionals like firefighters or police officers or somebody in the military. We want to hear from you, and you can turn in a nomination, and we will look at those things. We'll have a committee that will sit down and go over those nominations sometime the first week of March and choose. Usually we choose between 8 and 10 recipients. Sometimes we have as many as 15 nominations, and we've got to weed through those, and that becomes difficult, but the committee comes to a consensus, and then we turn that in, and that's going to be our awards. Then we write up a paper on each of them with a picture, make sure that they're going to be available and so forth. So, but we want to make sure that, you know, people are thinking about this and get these turned in. We don't have any categories for the award, but
you used to, right?
Yeah, we used to have them broke down, but unfortunately we started getting them and they were all in the same category, some kind of life-saving category. And so we decided we'd do away with the categories and just turn them in as whatever the function is, because we can build them from there, from the papers we write. They can be professional rescuers, some life-saving event that they took above and beyond the call of duty, can be an ordinary citizen doing a rescue, or an individual whose actions exemplify the spirit of the Red Cross. It can be a community group or organization that is making a difference in the community.
It's been around a dozen years or so. I'm trying to pick my brain.
Probably something like that.
Yeah, and it's become a really cool thing. I know a number of people who've been nominated, and they say, you know, I was just doing what I do, and I'm too humble to accept this. To me, it's a normal thing that any decent human being would do. Do you find that on occasion? You call them up and you say,
about every single one of them
really?
are that way.
Well, that's got to make you feel good.
It does, but these people need to be recognized. We need to see in our community that there's people that are stepping up, because we see in the news the bad things every day. Somebody laying on the sidewalk and maybe they're hurt or sick or whatever, and everybody passes them by. More typical on the East Coast, I guess, as I understand, becoming more a case out here where people are willing to help. And we do have the Good Samaritan Act, which covers everyone from doing no harm, so they can't be sued, so to speak, if you jump in there and help save a life or assist someone from doing that. So we like to recognize these folks, and we get some good ones every year. And we get organizations that form. There are many of those out there that need to be recognized. We had the Good Grief Center has been recognized before. We had the Hat Lady who was knitting hats for young kids. We've had an organization from Chelan that was part of the community and doing help with them. And so there's lots of different ways that people can be helping folks and could be recognized in these nominations.
And it's an amazing fact, and we talk about this all this time in this program, between the service clubs and the nonprofit organizations, I could see a problem where you could just have overwhelmed with too many people doing all these great deeds. But you can never have too many people doing all these great deeds.
No, we try to sort through them and pick out the top ones. I mean, we can have, in fact, all our nominations are all deserving. And last year we recognized them by calling them out, but then our director from Spokane, from the Greater Inland Northwest chapter, kind of says, okay, Rick, try to keep it to 8. And I always say, you said 10, right? And so we had 11 year before last. So I try to pick out the very top cream of the crop. And nothing against the rest of the people, we just don't have the time. We're given an allotment of about an hour, hour and a half to give these awards out, and So we don't want things to drag along. And the program goes along very smoothly. There's usually a little video of some kind that goes with the award-winning nominees, and then they're called up to the stage and they're presented an award by the Red Cross.
Does the entire board of the Red Cross for this geographic area, as you mentioned before, the regional office is in Spokane. We have the local office down here on Orondo Street. Does the entire board that you sit on make that decision, or is there a subcommittee that actually decides who wins?
We bring in, we have a committee, nomination committee that we have some folks like Steve Hare. I've had him come
Steve was
down,
on the committee,
and he's going to be down again this year. Linda Hagland. I've invited Brian Brett to come down. Elliot Salmon.
Very good guy.
Very good guy, very knowledgeable. I've got a neighbor that's involved with the VFW. I'm going to invite him down. So we'll have a committee of 4 or 5 people, and that's the ones that sit down. We try to give the nominations to them a few days before the meeting. They read them over. They make their own choices, 1 through 8 or 1 through 10. And then when they come in, then they start discussing them. And sometimes, you know, one will say, well, I'd like this guy, and then the other one will say, well, I like this gal here, this organization here, and then they talk about it, and they come up and, yeah, you're right, maybe that's a little bit better than this group here, but we'll recognize them, and we try to recognize them at the ceremony.
My guess is that sometimes the decisions are very hard to make.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
Usually takes us, they've already read everything and made their choices, yet it takes an hour to hour and a half to sit down and hash it out and come up with the best ones, because we want the very best ones to present awards and the rest of them to be recognized. So.
The best part is, and I'm actually holding the nomination form right here, you made it really easy. This is really easy to nominate somebody.
Yes, you can come down to our office at 12 Orondo, pick up a form. You can call our office, 663-3907. You can call them and they'll give you a link. They'll send you a link by email, and you can go to that link, and there's fillable. So you can online actually fill in the form and then send it into our director over in Spokane, and she'll put it into our committee.
And you can add things to your form. I mean, if there's a website link to the news story about the person you're nominating, or a newspaper clipping or a magazine article, you want those supplement materials to go through in the vetting process, right?
As long as the nominee lives or performed the act in Chelan, Douglas, Grant, or Okanagan counties.
That's correct, yep.
And it's happened within the last 2 years. And the nominee needs to be, if they're chosen, they need to be able to attend the function on March the 29th from 6 to 8:30. And we need a witness, someone who has made the nomination usually is our witness and does part of the interview process and tells us about what's going on. And that's all the requirements are.
One of the, I mean, I haven't filled out the form, but I would nominate off the top of my head. I don't even know if they have been nominated or even won a Hometown Heroes Award, but the folks at Rivercom across the street from our studio do great work.
Very good organization, and they work hard. There are several organizations like that in our valley and throughout these counties. And by all means, anybody listening, make sure you contact us and come down and get a form or get a link from online and get it sent in. The deadline is Thursday afternoon, 5 o'clock, and we'd like to get those taken care of.
One last question, Rick, before I cut you loose. We have about a minute left. If you nominate somebody, is it a good idea to call them up and say, I'm going to nominate you, Bob? Or can you say, by the way, Bob, somebody nominated you? How does that work? How are they notified that they have been nominated?
Well, we would hope that the witness or person turning in the nomination is going to talk to them and make sure that they're available. But then we would notify them too. Once the committee has made the choice, then we have somebody call them and let them know that they're, or we'll call the nominating person and tell them to go ahead and pass that information on. So.
But as Rick has mentioned, the deadline is close of business Thursday the 15th at 5 o'clock. Just head on down to their offices on Orondo Street. I think everybody knows where they're at. Or just Google American Red Cross or Hometown Heroes. You're going to find what you need. Get those nominations in, and looking forward to covering the big event come up in March.
You bet.
All right. And here's hoping we don't hear from you at all this summer. I want you to be bored this summer.
That's not going to happen.
Royal Court, the 2018 Apple Blossom Festival Queen and two princesses in this studio tomorrow. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.
And they're going to